Roger Wallace with Noah Gross. Longhorns win it tonight over UTSA 56-7. Everyone, of course, wondering about the status of Quinn Ewers. Sounds like, from what Sark said to you and us on the radio, abdomen, but we don't really know the extent of the injury.
Yeah, they remained hopeful post-game. Sark, starts out with his opening statement and kind of mentioned early something about Quinn, how efficient he was, which he was playing good football other than the one interception, which was not really characteristic of Quinn this season. And then he said, we'll kind of get to Quinn again later, and he finished it up by saying, yeah, it's the abdominal and oblique strain. It's not anything structural in that sense. It's different than his previous injuries here with Texas because he has missed games in each of his previous two seasons, and now we'll see what happens here in his third year. So Texas is hopeful. Sark said that. All the players said that. So we'll kind of see where things go for Quinn, but just from a sideline perspective, you could see the dejection on his face, and as he walked over to the sideline near where we are right now, he put his jersey over his face, and he was in the medical tent a very long time before he came out, so he seemed to know something was wrong, and he obviously wasn't going to come back in the game tonight, but we'll see where Texas goes from here.
Yeah, because we've seen it before. 2 years ago, the Alabama game, he was out all the way to OU. Last year in the Houston game, he got dinged up. Malik Murphy had to step in some big moments. You can realistically think if it's a matter of more rest, the better. ULM comes in next week. I think they're 100% confident that Arch Manning can do the job if it's something different. But it would surprise me unless this was totally precautionary and miraculously he's much better on Monday when they go to practice. It seems logical to think that Arch would be the guy next week and give him another week.
Well, one, I agree. Two, it does kind of remind me of that Alabama game his freshman year. Obviously the opponent a bit different in UTSA and Alabama, but the Alabama game, Quinn went down, and then there was a couple games off, and then he came back for the OU game. Not that there's a couple games off now, but the opponents maybe lend it, as you said, to a better chance for Arch to give Quinn some rest. You have ULM and then Mississippi State, who was barely favored against a MAC team.
They got run tonight by Toledo.
Yeah, shout out Toledo, but that's probably one of the lesser SEC opponents, certainly is. So those are the two games, and then there's the bye before.
Then they get the bye before OU, so
yeah.
Coincidentally, could be OU.
3 weeks, and then the OU. So we'll see, not to speculate, but Texas does have a part of their schedule where, not that you want to miss your starting quarterback for any part, but this is probably the 3-week stretch where it might be easiest to have a backup in.
We had a chance to visit with Quinn on the radio. Did you guys get to talk to him
not Quinn, but Arch.
I mean Arch.
I was going to say, you got Quinn?
No, but yeah, Arch. First time he's met after a game and after performance. What was kind of your takeaway from hearing from him? Because I said to him and Sark, there's a difference between Sark putting him in and having to put him in, and it's the first time he had to put him in.
I think the only other time he spoke with the local media was before the Sugar Bowl last year. And just watching that, that's a much different atmosphere than after a game. After, as he said, one of your best friends and roommates before game days gets hurt. So, he was excited when he was playing this game, and he was fired up, especially after that first touchdown. But it was a bit subdued post-game. As you might imagine, he was asked about Quinn and their relationship, and he reiterated how close they are, how much Quinn has taught him, and how he hopes he's okay, and things like that. As for his performance and what he kind of said about it, very humble. Enviably humble, I would say, for a 19, 20-year-old to be as calm, cool, collected as he is. His teammates had more to say about him than he did, which is, something you can imagine. And they just talked about, kind of why he instills confidence in this group. He's calm. He uses athleticism to his advantage. That's things like Jake Majors and Isaiah Bond said. So there really did not seem to be much drop-off for Texas offensively. The one thing, just from my analysis of watching the game down here, or maybe where Arch could improve, is awareness in the pocket, and that just comes with time because, as Sark said about Arch, he liked what he was doing, but coming out in this atmosphere when it's not just a huge blowout in the fourth quarter is different. It's different in a game atmosphere, so this was valuable for him. And he mentioned Trey Owens as well. Very good to get him some reps late.
Yeah, and I think and people might laugh at this, but to me the biggest throw was the one to start the second half, a third down. They're going to go a chance to go 3 and out, pinned deep, and all of a sudden maybe some bad thoughts creep into your head, and he threw a dime there to keep the sticks moving. Now, the other stuff, the Ryan Wingo throw, the deep throw headed north where he was rolling left and he was able to square up to Wingo, all that stuff was great, but third down, that's the money down for a quarterback, and he came through with a big throw. Yeah. And then I got a chance to ask him which uncle he thought he'd hear from first on the touchdown run. He joked probably both of them, and then said, "I got my speed from my mom," which is the reaction you would expect.
Yeah, hopefully he's a guest on Manningcast. I think you would enjoy that on Monday. But yeah, he was, like we said, calm, cool, collected post game as well. He was asked, or Sark was asked post game about, clearly, I mean, Quinn was able to run a little bit last year, and that was a big deal was made out of that. But he's not making 67-yard touchdown runs, so it's a bit of a different animal. Sark was asked about kind of the playbook and maybe how you adjust it now, and Sark did admit, yeah, it's different. They haven't really had that in their time here where there's been guys like Hudson Card, Quinn Ewers. I wasn't here for the Casey Thompson era, but, I mean, I don't know if he was doing 67-yard touchdown runs as well. So, and he said it is different, but that's not going to be their MO. That's not their identity. So it can change things, but it can also, as far as we talked about with his awareness, it's also, staying in the pocket versus scrambling when you have that ability. All his teammates, when we asked them about, Arch did mention how he uses his athleticism to his advantage, so it'll be interesting moving forward if he's the guy against ULM and maybe after that, how much he tries to stay in the pocket versus how much he tries to scramble. Because we see what he can do clearly running the ball, but, maybe there's when some issues arose, it was when he was kind of staying in there too long.
To answer your question, last quarterback to run 67 for a touchdown, guy named Vince Young.
Yeah, I saw that.
Back in 2005, he went 80, the pump fake against Oklahoma State. All right, let's flip to defense. A guy that jumped out, the freshman Colin Simmons, and I know you guys got a chance to visit with him for the first time, and he was fired up tonight.
I think immediately like my new favorite player for Texas. Somebody asked like how good can you be, and he's like, I can be great, amazing, unbelievable. It's just like I don't know exactly the words, but that was kind of the theme. And he's a very confident, fun young player. I saw him in the first half, and we got a really good shot of this, of him kind of coming around the left edge and missing a tackle for loss. I don't know if it was a sack or a run, but he missed it, and he clapped his hands, and he was angry. And I just knew, I was like, all right, he's going to be back. And Texas rotated so many guys in, but, I mean, it seemed like Colin Simmons was in on every play. He's so explosive. Asked Anthony Hill after the first game of the season about Colin Simmons, and he said he's going to be a star. He kind of reminds Hill of himself. And got a chance to ask Colin Simmons about that tonight, and he says he also sees the similarities. And, man, those two guys are special. I'm so impressed. We talked about this a while ago with the freshmen of this Texas team. 3 in particular. Wingo, unbelievable. Just so imposing. We got to talk to him as well. Explosive plays every week. Colin Simmons, we just talked about him. And to me, it's Jarrett Gibson. He had that fumble tonight, but man, he looks good. He's almost a steadying presence, even as a freshman in that running back room. So just very impressed by those 3 guys in particular.
Yeah, Texas playing with 2 scholarship backs before.
Yeah.
Garner came in, the transfer from SMU. All right, finally, I noticed from up top, I'm curious your perspective here. There's a lot of chirping going on.
Yes.
And UTSA, especially their DBs and linebackers, I'm surprised maybe it didn't get more out of hand. But at one time, 2 UTSA guys were chirping at Sark.
Yeah, I didn't see that one, but my analysis of it is, after a play, we got a big, heavy camera. I want to put the camera down, and I was getting frustrated because then I got to shoot all the chirping afterwards as well.
He thought Gibson got face masked down at the coming north to south, and the two UTSA players were getting on Sark. So, I mean, they were fearless coming in.
For sure, and I think a Texas guy that he won't admit this, but I saw a lot of Jade kind of leading that early. Before the game, we were by the far end zone where Texas runs out to, not from, and he kind of took a knee right by the goalpost as, saying a prayer, and then UTSA walked right by, and he had some things to say early on to the Roadrunners. So it was kind of that kind of game. And, when you're a 40-point favorite or whatever it is, you maybe kind of get yourself into the game and energized one way or another. So I did see a lot of that, and then a bit of pushing and shoving, which is, usual, especially in a night game as well.
Yeah, it was interesting. So Texas 3-0, one more game before SEC against ULM, 7 o'clock start next Saturday. And, of course, we'll try to keep you up to date all week on the status of Quinn Ewers, primarily Monday when Sark meets with the media. You can also watch it live on KBVO 1130 on Monday. For Noah, I'm Roger. Thanks for watching.